at Guru Nanak College. She has built her academic foundation strongly, earning a BA in Defense and Strategic Studies with a university second rank, an MA in the same discipline with university first rank, and MBA in Human Resources, and a PhD on strategic significance of Indian Ocean in India's energy security. Her career reflects both teaching leadership and subject expertise. She began as a guest faculty at the University of Madras and later served in key roles at Guru Nanak College. Her academic work focuses on strategic studies, energy security, environmental security, military history, climate change, and the role of artificial intelligence in armed forces. Dr. Nirmala has also contributed actively to research and scholarly exchange. She has published book chapters and journal articles, including work on environmental security, etc. And she has some publications appearing in Scopus Index Revenues also. In addition, she has presented papers at national and international conferences and served as a resource person at several institutions. Beyond teaching and research, she has participated in numerous faculty development programs, workshops, and short-term courses on topics such as research methodology, online teaching, sustainability, environmental management, and ICT tools for teaching and learning. Today, we are fortunate to have her with us, and we look forward to learning from your expertise, insight, and guidance, ma'am. The session is all yours, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Lokeshwari. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
I could see so many GNCNs here. Okay, fine. Very good morning, dear students. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizers, Marshall especially, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be here virtually today. It's actually an honor for me to be part of this internship program and also to address such a motivated and aspiring group of students. Good. They have given me 1.5 hours. So they have given me a very broad topic from thirst to conflict, water security as a weapon in asymmetric warfare. I do not know whether I will be in a position to complete the entire thing because it is too vast. But what I will do is I'll try to tell you what it is all about. Okay. Then and there, if you have any clarification, kindly please ask me. Let me try to answer those questions. Okay. Even if I'm not audible also, kindly please let me know. So what I have planned today is my lecture will be, I'll be telling you some introduction with the objectives of this lecture, and I'll try to help you to understand what water beyond as a natural resources and what asymmetric warfare means and how this water as a weapon in history. I'll give you some examples and let us also have some discussion. I'll ask 1 or 2 questions. So I request you to participate in that. And I'll also touch upon the linkage between the water and geopolitics and what India's strategic water challenges and how cyber warfare and future water wars will be. And I'll give some key takeaways. Hope I could convey something in this 1.5 hour session. Fine. Before I start off, how many are here? 16. Okay. I hope I am audible. Am I right? See, it's not a classroom-like environment. Whenever I ask some question, kindly please unmute yourself and then say some answers, because I feel like பைத்தியம் மாதிரி நானே பேசிட்டு இருக்க மாதிரி sometimes எனக்கு தோணும். So systemன்றதுனால. So kindly please unmute yourself and then yeah. Thank you, Aryan. Thank you so much. Fine. I'll begin my session by asking you some quick question. How many of you checked if your water tank was full before coming for this session. போய் ஓவர் டேங்க எத்தனை பேர் இந்த செஷன் வரதுக்கு முன்னாடி பார்த்துட்டு வந்தீங்க? Hope everyone is comfortable with Tamil or no. If you are not comfortable, kindly please do let me know.
Yes, ma'am. Not comfortable.
Comfortable? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, how many of you checked? Did anyone? No, right? In the Masinduja, Tivisha, John Peter.
No, ma'am, we didn't check.
You didn't
No,
check.
ma'am. No, no,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, thank you. One or two, I just need answers. Okay, that's it. See, most of us don't think about water until it's gone. Correct? But today, we are going to discuss why water might be most critical strategic resource of the 21st century. So let me just begin with a story. Okay, though it is imaginary, you just assume. Okay, see, imagine a city of nearly 2 million people. Children are returning from schools, hospitals are functioning normally, markets are crowded, people are cooking for their dinner preparation or lunch or anything that you think, or they are taking baths, they are watering plants. You think of anything, okay, wherever water is there. Suddenly, if water stops flowing from your taps, at first people will think it's some technical issue. There must be some pipeline which is broken or some maintenance work. They will wait for some time. Hours will pass and still you won't get water. Then comes the news that changes everything. An armed militant group has captured the dam upstream. What will happen? Within a day, the situation deteriorates rapidly. Electricity production slows down because of hydroelectric plants stops functioning. Drinking water, it becomes scarce. People start queuing for hours at government distribution points. Panic will spread throughout the city. Social media, they fill with rumors like the government has lost control, there is a water war coming, neighboring communities are attacking each other for water. Am I right? So the government appears weak because it cannot deliver the most basic service. People usually go to restaurants close nearby, and what will happen? The restaurants will say, no, we are not functioning. Hospitals, they began rejecting non-emergency patients. They will not admit because of water shortage. School, they will not take up the students. Factories, they will halt the productions. The economy begins to crumble. And without firing a single bullet in the every street, remember, they are not using any weapons. These militants have gained control over civilian psychology. Okay. By doing so, they would have achieved what armies spent years trying to accomplish. They have paralyzed the city through fear and taking control of survival resources. That is water, what the topic is all about. See, this is not fiction and this is not a movie part also. Okay, this actually happened in parts of Iraq and Syria between 2014 and 17, when a terrorist organization, also known as some militant groups. Okay, I don't want to name it in this forum. You might be coming up across all these militant groups. Okay, they have captured the strategic water infrastructure, including the dams, and they have took control over these energy river flows. So now think carefully about what this means. See, for centuries, we believe wars were fought with guns, missiles, tanks, and soldiers they used to occupy the territory. Am I right? We study military history focusing on battles, say, for example, what to say, Waterloo, you can say, Kargil, you can say, where armies confronted each other directly. But today, control over water can sometimes produce greater fear than conventional weapons. Okay, so let me explain why. A population can survive for sometimes without electricity. We all would have experienced power cuts then and there. Okay, we use fans, we stay cool, we charge phones at work, everything we need electricity. But some point in time, even if it is not there also, we can survive. Okay, a nation may function under fuel shortage. We have seen countries like ration petrols, okay, but still their life continues. But think of without water, what will happen? Society collapses rapidly. Humans can survive, say, for example, 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water, scientifically. Okay, the biological facts, if I want to say. So, as a student of strategic studies, you should understand this water is the ultimate strategic vulnerability. That is the reason why today your lecture is titled as From Thirst to Conflict, Water Security as a Weapon in Asymmetric Warfare. Okay. So today we are not discussing only environmental studies or climate change or something that is related. So we will be looking in terms of national security, like how water affects defense planning, okay, or strategic coercion, like how adversaries use this water as leverage, and how the non-state actors attack infrastructures, and how the ordinary people becomes target, that is the civilians, they become vulnerable. Okay, and just think of your future, what wars will be looking like in 20, 30, 40, 50, and beyond. So by completing my 1.5 lecture, I hope you all must, or you should understand why water is different from other sources strategically, and how this asymmetric warfare targets water infrastructure. I'll give you some historical or examples of water weaponization, and also India's specific vulnerabilities regarding to water security, and how, as a student of defense and strategic studies or IR scholars, can contribute to the solutions that we are facing today, which is very, very pertinent. Am I clear? Or if you are
Yes,
not
ma'am.
able to follow, kindly please do let me know. Okay, is
Yes,
the
ma'am.
speed is okay?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, thank you, thank you. Fine. For another 5 to 10 minutes, what I will do is I will try to make you understand water beyond a natural resources. Okay, so we all know water is a natural resource. So most of us, including me, I'm saying, before I enter into the strategic field, like you, we think water in terms of survival, basic necessity for the survival. And another thing is for developmental issues and for the governments to manage, or environmental concern for the activists. Okay, but these views are correct, but it is incomplete, because strategic thinkers view related. First one, water means power. Okay, control over water means you are controlling over agriculture, you are controlling over industry, and urban population as well. So countries upstream have power over countries downstream. Hope you know what is upstream and downstream. So states upstream have power over states downstream. This is why China, sitting on the Tibetan plateau, has strategic power over India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia. See, because all of which depends on river, which is originating in Tibet. Okay, so that is why we speak water as means of power. Okay, then water means stability. Nations with stable water supplies have stable population. Okay, so nations with stable water supplies will have stable population. When water becomes scarce, what will happen? People start migrating from one place to another. Protest starts erupting, and eventually the government will fall. See, whatever I am speaking today, we have examples. Okay, so that is the reason why the interns are asked to look issues in these aspects. For example, in 2019, when Chennai faced day zero, okay, when all four major reservoirs ran completely dry, nearly to say 11.2 million people they affected. The state government, they had to bring waters by railway tankers. It's because of that the economic activities it got slowed down, and it is because of that the chief minister they faced intense criticism. Okay, and therefore water scarcity, what it did, it threatened the political stability. Water threatens directly the political stability. Okay, and another thing, water is political legitimacy. See, as a citizens, when a citizen can turn on taps and get water, what they do? They trust the government. Okay. So when taps run dry, what they will do? They will question the government competence. This is what water crisis often leads to election where these people might lost. Okay. So what will happen? Protests start escalating. Eventually, the regime will collapse. Why I have said this because you must have come across the Arab Springs in 2011, which was partly triggered by the water stress. And it is because of that water stress, the food prices increased and caused by drought in Syria between 2006 and 2010. It's because of that over 1.5 million Syrian farmers, they migrated to the cities due to the crop failure. Okay, due to the drought. These urban migrants, they become angry, they become unemployed, and it all created condition for civil war. Okay, the another one. Water means economic continuity. See, India's agricultural sector, if you see, it contributes nearly 18% of GDP and employs around 42% of the workplace. Okay, all of agriculture, everyone knows it depends on water. Without water, nothing could do. If water fails, what will happen? The farmers will not harvest, correct? Because they won't earn, they cannot earn income, or they there is no need for them to buy any goods, and entire economy will slow down. Again, see, in case of Tamil Nadu, in Kaveri Delta, it is called as rice bowl of Tamil Nadu, correct? So it produces 7% of state's rice. So if Kaveri water is cut off, what will happen? The entire agricultural economy, it will collapse. which affects millions of farmers, laborers, and also other related industries as well. Okay, fine. Water means military sustainability, because no army can function without water. Even soldiers need water for drinking, cooking, hygiene, and equipment maintenance, whatever you name it, they too need water. So during military operations, just think in terms of deserts like Rajasthan or mountains like C.A.R.c.E. Water supply is very, very essential. It is even essential as ammunitions, okay? Because without water, a soldier cannot fight, correct? 2 to 3 days he can survive. Otherwise, dehydration, other health issues will come, correct? Even if you didn't drink for one whole day, you feel like you have lost something. You cannot fight. You cannot move further. Okay, therefore, it's very, very pertinent. Okay. And if you think in terms of nuclear power, okay, I'm nuclear power state. I have all the power. No, you are vulnerable when your water system fails. Okay, because India once India has 14 nuclear reactors, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so all of which they requires massive amount of cooling water. Correct? See, in 2016, the Kudankulam nuclear power plant, it has to shut down temporarily because of low water levels in the surrounding areas due to unusual weather patterns. So, if any shutdowns, what will happen? Again, it leads to electricity, correct? It creates lots of other impacts. So, if water system fails, even your nuclear deterrence become compromised. Okay. So, are you in the line? Hello? Anyone?
Yes,
Am I
ma'am.
boring? Am I boring?
No, no, ma'am.
No? You have to
No,
say
ma'am.
that alone. You have no other go. Okay, fine. Okay. See, the next one is the geography of vulnerability. How you can see geography as your vulnerability. Now, Earth is called blue planet. Correct? It's called as blue planet because 71% of its surface is covered with water. But here is the shocking truth. Only 2.5% of Earth's water is fresh water. And in that 2.5% also, 2/3 is frozen in glaciers and ice caps. That means only 0.007% of Earth's total water is readily accessible fresh water for human use. So, what's happening now? It's combining this, even though it is a tiny in percentage, it is giving some crushing pressures on certain issues. The major issues that I'm trying to touch upon here is 5. One is population growth. See, all know India's population. It is expected to reach 1.7 billion by 2050, which is going to add 300 million more people. If more people is there, again, people need water for the survival. Okay. The other point is urbanization. Chennai's population, if you take, it grows from 3 million in 1991 to 11 million in 2025, which means everyone needs water. Nobody can deny no water for the recent comers or recent settlers. The other major threat we have is climate change. Nowadays, monsoons are becoming erratic. It's because of that droughts are more frequent. And not only that, due to this climate change, glaciers are melting faster. So all these create pressure. And the another thing is industrial demand. See, for example, a single textile factory in Tirupur, I'm just giving you an example. They may use 15 million liters of water per day. So just think of. Okay. The another major pressure that we have is geopolitical competition, especially the major states like China. They are building dams on shared rivers. Okay. And Pakistan is demanding more Indus water. Correct? And Bangladesh is worried about Ganges flow. Correct? So, what do we get at the end? Everyone, if we start using water, this fresh water, which is very, very less in number, we end up in scarcity. Okay. So, and this scarcity, it creates competition. Okay. See, for example, when two villages need the same well, what do? They will compete. Correct? When two states need the same river, what they will do? Again, they will compete. And again, when two countries, they need the same transboundary rivers, what they will do? They will again compete at the national level. So it creates competition. This competition creates ultimately tensions. So what will happen? Arguments, it will turn into legal disputes. And these legal disputes turn into political confrontations. And protests, they turn into violence. Ultimately, security will be under question. Okay? So, and these tensions, what will happen? It 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 projects like weak governance and it creates hostile politics. Okay? So this happens when you talk in terms of Kaveri dispute. And even if you talk in terms of China and Brahmaputra, this is what happened in Syria before the civil war. You can relate all these things. Okay. So today, what we are discussing, is not only the environmental studies. We are not discussing climate change awareness. We are not discussing water conservation campaigns. Today we are discussing matters that affect your future careers. Okay? Because national security, if you take how water affects defense planning, you should study. If you talk in terms of strategic coercion, how these adversaries use water as leverages. In terms of hybrid warfare, how the non-state actors, they attack the infrastructures. In terms of civilian vulnerability, how the ordinary people like us, they may become targets. Okay. So, you have any doubts over here? Anyone? Or
No, ma'am.
no?
No, ma'am.
Clear? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
You fine. See, one should understand water is not just a water; it's a power. Okay. You might have come across whoever controls the sea can control. Correct. So, in same way, you can talk in terms of water also. Countries that control water have power over countries that depend on water. Correct? So, just I'll give you an example. China sits on Tibetan plateau and controlling the sources of river that flows into India. Correct? Therefore, it affects nearly 400 million people. Insane. Ethiopia, they built a dam on the Nile, giving its power over Egypt, which depends on Nile for nearly 97% of its fresh water. In same way, Turkey built 22 dams, giving it power over Syria and Iraq. See, this is not just an environmental politics. This is geopolitics. Okay, fine. even in local, you can talk in terms of Karnataka controls Kaveri water. Correct? Nearly 3 million Tamil Nadu farmers, they depend on this Kaveri water. So Tamil Nadu uses 82.9% approximately of available groundwater annually. But we are expecting the Kaveri water. Okay. So, just a minute. See, here what I am trying to say, from thirst to conflict in shorter terms. First, thirst becomes panic. Panic becomes protest. Protest becomes violence, and the violence becomes and instability leads to conflict. Okay. So this is what I just want to say here. Now, I'll try to give a more example so that you can understand why we are talking in terms of water. I'll try to give you some perspectives, okay? You just think of, you are the future. It's just an illustration. Just hydropolitics as a most basic level we can say. See, imagine two villages, village A, village B, okay, sharing one well during a severe drought. Severe drought. Village A is in upstream, village B is a downstream. Initially, what they will do? They will cooperate because both of them need water. They will cooperate. They will say they take turns drawing waters. One time you take, another time I will take, something like that. What they will do? They share the burdens due to that drought. Therefore, everyone survives. Okay. Then what happens? By using regularly, water level will drop. The well will dry up fast. So village A, being in upstream, starts drawing more water because it's easier for them. They don't have to pump as deep. Correct? So what village B will do? They will notice this. They start drawing less water. Okay. What will happen eventually? Their crops begin to fail. Their cattle become very weak. So village B becomes suspicious. Suddenly they will spread rumors. Village A is stealing our shares. They are using our water for their own factories. They don't even care if we die. Correct? So many arguments begin. Okay. Therefore, what they will do? They will place some guards to protect it. Village A, they will post some guards. Access will be restricted. Okay. So village B women have to walk more than 10 to 15 or 20 kilometers to find some alternative water. Therefore, what will happen? Violence erupts. They will start throwing some stones. Some might get injured. So local police will arrive. But if you see, they cannot solve the root problem. Okay. There is simply not enough water. That is the problem. Now, expand this village level psychology to states. Karnataka and Tamil Nadu both need Kaveri water. Expand it to nations. India and Bangladesh both need Ganges water. Expand it to the river system. 6 countries sharing Mekong River. Expand it to dams. China's dam. Expand it to strategic borders. The McMahon line above Brahmaputra. Okay. This is hydropolitics. It's the same psychology, just at a larger scale. The village well is the Kaveri River. Okay, so I think you can relate what I am trying to say. The drought is climate change. It's because of the climate change, severe drought here. Correct? So, understanding this simple analogy helps you to understand why water conflicts are so emotional, so difficult to resolve, and so strategically important. Okay. Now, what is asymmetric warfare? Let's try to understand the key concept of this lecture. Okay. See, traditionally, wars involve army versus army, state versus state, or tanks versus tank, fighter jet versus fighter jets, something like that. So, even think of Indio-Pakistan War of 1965-71. They are conventional armies fighting conventional battles. They are called as symmetric wars. Both sides have similar capabilities, similar structure, similar strategies. But modern warfare has changed dramatically. Today, many conflicts they involve actors who cannot match state militaries in conventional terms. For example, terrorist groups. You name any militant groups or any insurgent organizations, Taliban, Naxalites, or something like that, or cyber actors like hacker groups, state sponsor cyber units, criminal networks, okay, and proxy networks like groups that fight on behalf of larger states without official attribution, correct? So, these actors cannot defeat states militarily in conventional battles. So what they will do? They won't fight with the militaries, correct? They will try to target the vulnerabilities, correct? They cannot match with the army people, correct? So they will target the vulnerabilities. They won't attack the army's strongest point. They attack the state weakest civilian infrastructures. It becomes the soft targets, especially in terms of civilians, the electricity grids. What will happen if it is hacked, or if it is bombed, or if you cut the transmission lines? What will happen to the communication system? If you disrupt the internet, if you disturb the phone networks, if you disturb the satellite links, again, in terms of transportation networks, if you attack some bridges or if you destroy some railways or ports, what will happen? And that is okay, that is a part. And water infrastructure, this is what we are focusing on today. This is asymmetric warfare. When a weaker actor uses unconventional tactics to compensate for military inferiority, it is called as asymmetric because two sides are not fighting on equal terms. One side has tanks, fighter jets, the other side has bombs, cyber attacks, and sabotage. Correct? One side fight on battlefields. The other side they fight in the cities, online, through infrastructures. Correct? So how you take water as an ideal weapon for asymmetric actors? So let me try to link with 5 key reasons. One is civilian dependence. So every citizens depend on water every single day. You can survive without television, you can survive without internet, you can survive without petrol for your cars or anything, but you cannot survive without drinking water. Okay. So a terrorist groups, if they control 100% of population vulnerability, what will happen? Correct? So even if a terrorist group attack oil refineries, it will affect only the transportation and industry, not your immediate survival. Okay. The other one is psychological fear. Water shortage, what it will do is it will create panic quickly when compared to others. Okay, just think of when people see tanker trucks arriving instead of tap water. Every day we are using tap water. All of a sudden, if you don't get tap water, and if you have to rely on some trucks, and when you see some queues, long queues forming at the public distribution point, what will happen? They have a lot of impact. Okay, what they hear rumors, see what they will say, the water will stop tomorrow. Immediately panic spreads like wildfire. Not only that, the social media, it amplifies this fear. Social media, they will do all sorts of things. See, even before I said, this has happened in 2019 when Chennai people saw the day zero, correct? People were buying water bottles for rupees 100 per liter. Usually what we will do, we will use to get 1 liter for 20 rupees. So what happens? 100 per liter. It creates panic. If you don't get, what will happen? How you will survive? Okay. So you will give money, and where these people try to exploit. Okay. The other one is economic damage. In terms of economy, see, agriculture, see, we are a developing state, we used to say that, and agriculture and industries, if they stop functioning without water, what will happen? Say, for example, Tamil Nadu has nearly 25,000 textile factories. If water stops, what they will do ultimately? They have to shut down, and nearly 2.
Automatically the textiles gonna to be stop working, and the uh, people get troubles through not working properly, ma'am.
Yes. Once they shut down, people rely on the textile workers. They will lose the wages. Eventually, the state's GDP will drop. Not only that, there are some people who exports that also become, they will decline. So foreign exchange is lost. This economic damage is often greater than direct military destruction. Okay. So what these militant groups will do? They control water. See, this happened in Iraq. Militant group, just think of ISIS or some militant groups. See, when they took control of water in Iraq, it cost nearly $2 billion in agricultural losses alone. Okay. Again, it also creates political pressure because the government appears weak when they were not able to provide the basic services for the people. When citizens cannot get water, they protest, they blame the government, they start blaming the government, like they vote against the ruling party when election comes. Again, in democracies especially, water crisis becomes electoral diseases. Okay, wow. And the same thing happened again in 2019. Just think of, okay, what they did. அவங்கள ஐ ஹோப் தமிழ் எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியும் நினைக்கிறேன். அவங்க எதுவுமே பண்ண வேண்டாம். இந்த ஆட்சியில தண்ணி வரல, அந்த ஆட்சியில தண்ணி வரல, நான் வந்தா தண்ணி எல்லாம் கரெக்டா கொடுத்துருவேன். கரெக்டா? So all these things will happen. The next one is humanitarian. Again, just think of when water stops. All our activities are depending on water. If we don't get proper water, diseases will spread. Just think of உங்க plate கூட wash பண்ண முடியல. How long you will be using use and throw? Again, it will create an environmental. If you don't get water, diseases will spread and migration increase rapidly. Diseases like cholera, diarrhea, skin disease, எல்லாம் common ஆயிடும். Okay. So what people will do? People start migrating from affected areas to cities. Okay. So they create more tension. It's a burden for the already existing people. The same thing happened in Syrian drought, which caused nearly 1.5 million people to migrate to cities. Okay. See, not only this, it becomes a recruitment ground for the militant groups as well. If you don't get proper things from the government, what you will do? You will start working against the government and you will start end up in other activities as such. Therefore, water weaponization, it creates long-term destabilization that persists for decades in many places. Okay. Therefore, a weak actor like the militant groups and other people, they can challenge a powerful state without even matching the military strength. Okay. So they don't need a fighter jet, but they have dams in their hands. I talk in terms of water. Okay. So Naxalites, they don't want to have any missiles. They can sabotage water pipelines. Okay. So this is why water security is now part of counter-terrorism strategy, counter-insurgency planning, and homeland security. So defense ministries worldwide, they are training the soldiers to protect water infrastructure. Okay. In India particularly, the NDRF, you might have come across, the National Disaster Response Force, now has a special unit trained for this water management. Okay, fine. Oh my God, it's 11:50. Okay. I'll try to finish off. I hope I'm conveying something. Am I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. I have one more session also. If I'm unable to complete it today, maybe I can take it on that day also, if the organizers permit. Water as a weapon in history. Let's try to bring some references from the history, how this water was used as a weapon. So, ancient Mesopotamia, if you see, where is Mesopotamia? It's a land between Tigris and Euphrates River, correct? So, they don't just fight battles on the open field, they just diverted rivers to weaken the enemies. Imagine Kingdom A is fighting with Kingdom B. Instead of sending armies across the deserts, what they will do, they will ask the engineers to build canal, which can divert the rivers away from the Kingdom B's agricultural field. Okay, within months, their crops fail, farmers start starving. So again, soldiers or anybody, they cannot feed their families. Fortunately, the other kingdom has to surrender without even going to a major battle. Okay, so why fighting soldiers directly when you can destroy the agriculture? Okay, so there are certain records were there. If you have time or if you want to study, just go and study. And not only that, we have come across during our world military history or other classes, even in medieval period, the invading armies, what they will do, they will poison the well, correct? By doing so, not only that, they will throw dead animals, toxic plants in water sources. Why? Because thirst breaks morale faster than a sword. Okay, so soldiers who are stationed at the fortress, they would become weak. Okay, they become irritable. See, they started begging their commanders to surrender just to drink water. They will ask the commanders to surrender themselves. There are historical records are there. Just go and see. Okay, even Romans, they did it. And especially here, I would like to touch upon the Mughals and Marathas. See, water is strategically important from time immemorial. So the Mughals, they build massive step wells and reservoirs. Okay, but they also understand how to deny water to enemies. During Aurangzeb's Deccan campaign against the Marathas, what happened? The Mughal armies would fill up village wells when retreating, denying water to pursuing Maratha forces. See, therefore, if you see the Marathas, they occupied the hill forts with natural springs because nobody can deny water. Therefore, Chhatrapati Shivaji's fort, if you see from name some forts like Raigad, Pratapgarh, all have natural water resources that could sustain defenders for years during sieges. Okay, and what examples I can give? Even in World War II, correct? And see, what I'm trying to say here is water weaponization is not a new thing. It is there. Okay. So it's not a new technology. Even from ancient strategic principle point of view, they have been using this because population density is higher and more people depend on centralized water system. Infrastructure is more complex. Correct? So this is what I just want to convey when we talk in terms of historical background. So what I will do, let me just try to give some case studies, okay? How this militant groups and water terrorism. So see, Islamic State's weaponization of water in Iraq and Syria between 2014 and 2017. This will be the clearest example of water as an asymmetric warfare weapons in the 21st century. If you have time, kindly please go and read a lot about this. See, I'll just give you some brief picture. See, when the militant groups, they launched its offensive in 2014, they didn't just capture cities. They captured the strategic infrastructure. Therefore, within 6 months, they controlled the Mosul Dam in the northern Iraq, which is the largest dam in Iraq, which is supplying water to 1.7 million people. Okay. Then the Tatka Dam in Syria, it controls nearly 60% of Syria's electricity and much of its water. And again, the other dams in western Iraq and water treatment plants and other things were there. See, these militant groups understand something very important. Like they did not need to defeat government conventionally. Okay, they only need to control fear. So that's what they did. So what these militant groups did do with this water to control? Major 5 things they have done. One is restricted water supplies to enemy areas. Okay, so it creates a psychological pressure or force. Therefore, many people have to leave their families, cities. Okay, sometimes they may even capture those areas. And the other major thing is flooded selected areas to displace the population. Deliberately, what these militant groups will do, they will open the floodgates of the dam, which flood nearly, say for example, 1,500 square kilometers of downstream. If suddenly, if they open the gates, what will happen? The flooding will destroy the crops, the homes, the roads, which is making it impossible even for the military people to carry over the attacks or counter attacks. Okay. So this was water as a terrain modification. Water was used as a terrain modification by changing the battlefield physically. Okay. The next one is they threatened the civilian population with water cutoffs. What they will do? They will cut off the water supply. If there is no water supply, what will create? It will create social divisions, and they forced a kind of collaborations. Okay. And again, electricity, hydroelectric plants. When the dams were under the control of militant groups, the hydroelectric plants, for example, if they are going to supply more than 40% of the electricity of the state, If they take over the control, what will happen? If they cut off the electricity, the governments, what they can do nothing. Areas will be dark. Okay. So all these things might happen if it is going in the hands of militants. So what these people will do, they use water as a negotiation. Water can be used as a negotiation part. See, the militant groups would threaten to release pamphlets. Okay, so what they will do? No, please don't do that. It will affect the people. So they try to create a kind of situation where these can be used as a negotiation tools. Okay. So far, you have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. So, as a student of strategic studies, what are the strategic lessons you may learn? Okay. So, modern conflicts is no longer limited to battlefields. This is clear. Okay. Today, the battlefield includes rivers, where upstream and downstream power dynamics create strategic advantage. The other one is data systems. Cyber attacks on dam control systems can be more destructive than bombs. Then reservoirs. Controlling water storage means controlling future supply. Okay. And civilian infrastructures like schools, hospitals, even our homes, they become targets because everybody depends on water. This is called as forward defense in water security. You don't wait for water crisis to happen. You protect water infrastructure before conflict begins. Okay. So let's have a quick interaction. So I need some volunteers. So you have been listening for a long time and I have been speaking for a long time. So I need some break. So I'll just give a quick question, one or two. I want your answers. I will also give you answers for those questions. Okay. Can water scarcity really cost water? If yes, please raise your hand and you have to tell me what do you think and how the water scarcity cost what? Anyone? Just identify yourself and just. I have been blabbering so many things for the past 1 hour. 1 hour. Okay. So let me just hear from your voices.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Aishwarya.
Tell me, Aishwarya.
I will. Right. So my answer is that water scarcity can cause war because there are various factors leading to it, which you have said earlier in your speech. Mm, water is not, just as you have said, water is not a normal resource because we use it also for survival. A human cannot go more than 3 days without water. And well, if water is scarce, then that also causes, how do I say, political instability, just as Chennai faced day zero in 2019. So when political instability occurs and when people lose trust on the government, civil war could occur. There are chances. Internal and regional strife goes on. Yes, that's my answer.
Anyone? One more? See,
Good
as a
morning,
strategic
ma'am.
student.
Oh.
Morning. Who is this?
I'm Latika SS, and I do think
Latika.
it can also cause a war externally, ma'am, where they can invade other countries or something due to resources or water scarcity, ma'am. So that can also lead to war.
Okay, good point. So let me try to give you a complete answer based on research and historical evidences. So direct large scale wars. solely over water are very, very rare. Okay. Never been a war declared explicitly because of water between states. You won't find any answers. However, water scarcity acts as a conflict multiplier. It makes the existing conflict even more worse. Take example of Syria. In Syria, what happened is in 2006 to 2010, the drought didn't cause the civil war directly. Okay, but it displaced 1.5 million farmers to cities, which created unemployment, which increased food price and made people more angry over the government. Okay, and the another point is a trigger for instability. When water fails, government loses its legitimacy. As I already said, during 2019, the government, though they tried, but what happened? Okay, water scarcity made people more likely to support not the ruling party, the opposition parties. Okay, more likely to protest, more likely to vote for the other persons. And it creates a cause or source of political tension. Even without a major war, this water creates diplomatic friction. Okay, see, for example, India and Pakistan have had 18 serious diplomatic disputes over the Indus Water Treaty since 1960. India and Bangladesh had tension over the Ganges River for 30 years until the 1996 treaty. These tensions can escalate during any crisis happens. Okay, that doesn't mean it is resolved or it is in control. At any point in time, it may trigger again. Okay. So not only that, it will also create ethnic conflicts. Okay, border disputes. For example, India and China border disputes includes over Brahmaputra. Okay, since the China builds dams, it affects the water flow to India. This makes the border disputes even more dangerous. And economic crisis, when water fails, again agriculture fails, unemployment rise, and economic crisis deepens. Okay, so water may not always start war independently, but it intensifies insecurity significantly. Okay, this is why defense planner call water a threat multiplier. We use the term threat multiplier. It doesn't create threat alone, but it makes all other threats worsen. Okay, fine. So let me just ask another question, quick question. Why are dams strategically important? Somebody else, not Aishwarya or Latika, somebody else. Or I will point out so that I can see whether you are sleeping or you are not in line.
Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
Why dams are strategically important? See, we talk in terms of water security and other things, no? Today's topic. So why dams are strategically important?
Dams are strategically important. For
Can you
example,
please,
a river is shared between two countries.
dear, may I know who is this?
Ma'am, Sindhuja, ma'am.
Sindhuja, okay. Yeah, continue.
Ma'am, mostly rivers are shared between two countries. So, if that is upstream and downstream, a country can build dam to reduce water by giving water to another country. So it is strategically important controlling the stability of the country by controlling the water, ma'am.
Okay. Mm, Fine. Okay, fine.
Hello, ma'am.
Since we
This
have
is
very limited
Aryan.
time. Yeah, tell
Hello.
me, Aryan.
Yeah. So, ma'am, dams are strategically important because, firstly, it controls the water supply,
Very good.
and it stores the water. Then it controls the floods mainly. In
Good.
when there is the rain which is out of control, and that times
Yes.
the dams doors are open and everything, so water goes flowing. So it controls the water supply, so it's not affect the nearby areas which might affect if the dam were not there.
Yes. Excellent. Very good. All answers are good. Let me try to expand it. See, dams usually control 5 critical functions. Okay, in terms of strategy. One is drinking water. Okay, when the dam is under somebody's control, if somebody captures the dam, the population will become hostage. The person who is using the dam for drinking purpose or other purposes, they will become the hostage. The another thing is electricity generation. Okay, so hydropower. The another thing is irrigation. Okay, the another thing is like what Aryan was telling us, flood management. During monsoon, it may affect the areas. And strategic timing. Dams can hold water during peace and release it during war. You may relate it with recent examples. I don't want to mention it here, what has happened in some of the operations. You might have come across the news, whoever is watching news regularly. Okay, so if we release the water in unexpected time, it creates artificial floods in the other areas. Therefore, controlling dams means controlling civilian survival and economic activity. So, therefore, what I'm trying to say here is a dam is not just concrete and steel, it's a strategic asset that affects millions of lives. Okay, fine. Hope I'm clear with whatever that I have spoken as of now. So let me just quickly move on to the other aspects of water and geopolitics. I'll give you Nile River as example. Okay. So the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, usually called as GERD. Okay. Again, why I'm giving this, it has a lot of examples to give, which has created tension between 3 countries. One is Ethiopia, building upstream, building the dam. Another one is Egypt, downstream, who dependent on the Nile, and the Sudan, again the downstream, affected by flow changes. Okay, so the Nile actually supplies 97% of Egypt's fresh water. Egypt has almost no alternative water sources. Okay, so Egypt's population is nearly 110 million, and it keeps growing by 2050, and it might reach 160 million. Again, all needs water. And this Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is actually 740 meters wide and 145 meters tall. When it is full, it will hold nearly 74 billion cubic meters of water. Filling the reservoir will actually take minimum of 4 to 7 years. Okay, but during this time, Egypt will receive less water. Therefore, why Egypt is so concerned? As far as Egypt is concerned, Nile water is not just a source for them. It is civilization itself. The Egyptian civilization has existed for more than 5,000 years because of the Nile River. Without the Nile, the Egypt would be desert. Okay. So 95% of Egypt population lives within 5 kilometers of this Nile River. If the Nile dries up, if it is dried, Egypt ceases to exist as a civilization. Okay. Therefore, the only matter that could take Egypt to war is water. Correct? So this statement is still true because of this climate change and other activities. Rainfall is unpredictable and other things. Okay. So not only that, when upstream states they build waters, what the downstream state fears first and foremost is water reduction. So Ethiopia will fill the reservoir, holding back water that flows to Egypt. During filling, Egypt will lose at least 25% of its water for several years. Okay. The another major is agricultural decline. Everyone knows how important water is for agriculture. So I don't want to explain it again. Again, economy and then national vulnerability. Egypt cannot import water like it import oil. Correct? So water is too heavy and expensive to transport over long distance. Right? Egypt has no alternative if the Nile is cut off. See, you might have seen so many lorries. நம்ம ஊர்ல லாரி எல்லாம் போகும், தண்ணியை தான் கீழே கொட்டிட்டு போகும். கரெக்டா? ஆயிலோ இல்ல மற்ற விஷயத்தையெல்லாம் கொட்டாது. So in that case, just think of the significance of water. Okay. So the strategic dynamics, if you see, the geography itself can become a strategic weapon. உங்க ஜியாகிரபியே என்ன ஆயிடுது, உங்களுக்கு ஒரு ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜிக் வெப்பனா மாறிடுது. ஸோ எத்தியோப்பியாஸ் ஜியாகிரபிக்கல் அட்வான்டேஜ்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இட் கண்ட்ரோல்ஸ் தி சோர்ஸ் ஆஃப் ப்ளூ நைல். ஓகேவா? ஸோ எத்தியோப்பியன் என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க, திஸ் இஸ் அவர் ரிவர், வி ஹாவ் தி ரைட் டு டெவலப் இட் அப்படின்வாங்க. ஸோ ஈஜிப்டோடைய ஜியாகிரபிக்கல் டிஸ்அட்வான்டேஜ்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இட் இஸ் கம்ப்ளீட்லி டிபெண்ட் ஆன் தி ரிவர் தட் ஆரிஜினேட்ஸ் இன் அனதர் கண்ட்ரி. Egypt has no control over Nile. So this is the fundamental asymmetry in hydropolitics. Okay, wow. How long? How many more minutes is there for me? 11:50 now. Oh, okay, fine. So fine. நான் இப்போ எதுக்காக நைல் ரிவரை உங்களுக்கு எக்ஸாம்பிளா சொன்னேன்னு மட்டும் சொல்றேன். Why this matters for India அப்படின்றத, since I have a very limited time. How Nile example is directly relevant to India. அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, சேம் இந்தியா ஃபேஸஸ் த சேம் டைனமிக் வித் சைனா அண்ட் பிரம்மபுத்திரா. திரும்ப திரும்ப சொன்னா அதுதான். ஓகேங்களா? சைனா கண்ட்ரோல்ஸ் தி டிபெட்டியன் ஹெட் வாட்டர்ஸ் ஆஃப் பிரம்மபுத்திரா, which becomes India's Siang River in Arunachal Pradesh and then flows into Bangladesh as the Jamuna River. Just like Egypt depends on Nile, India depends on Brahmaputra, especially for northeastern agriculture and food control. Okay, va? Another point பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, upstream dam building in global trend. Again, China building made of dam on the Brahmaputra. இது வந்து 137 billion project. Like Ethiopia வந்து build பண்ண மாதிரி C.A.R.C.E on Nile. So this is the future of hydropolitics. The another one is there is no binding international water law. The UN Water Courses Convention exists, Anna, but major powers haven't ratified it. China ratify பண்ணல, India ratify பண்ணல, Pakistan பண்ணல, Egypt, but with some reservation they have done it. So diplomacy is only tool. Like Egypt has tried everything, diplomacy, threat, alliance, அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. ஸோ அதே மாதிரி this shows the limits of diplomacy when geography favors the upstream states. உங்களுடைய geography வந்து upstream states ஃபேவர் பண்ணுது. Therefore diplomacy fail ஆகுது. ஓகேவா? ஸோ strategic lessons என்ன லேர்ன் பண்றோம்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, see for example the Nile militant groups, they teach us that water geopolitics is a new great power competition. ஓகேவா? ஸோ எப்படி 20th centuryல oil shaped geopolitics, so correct, the US fought wars in the Middle East partly to secure oil supplies. The Soviet collapsed partly because oil price fell. Yeah. So again, in the Madri, in the 21st century, water will shape geopolitics the same way. Countries that control water source have strategic leverage over countries that depend on them. Okay, so this is why water security must be part of national security strategy. Okay, and India cannot afford to be Egyptian situation, completely depend on river controlled by hostile upstream states. இதை வந்து நம்ம ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கணும். ஓகேவா? ஸோ இந்தியாவுக்கு என்னென்ன ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜிக் வாட்டர் சேலஞ்சஸ் மேஜரா இருக்குன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, இன்டர்னல் வாட்டர் டிஸ்பியூட்ஸ்ல காவேரி வாட்டர் டிஸ்பியூட்ஸ் இருக்கு. தமிழ்நாடு, கர்நாடகா. உங்களுக்கே தெரியும் காவேரி ரிவர் வந்து எங்க ஆரிஜினேட் ஆகுது? கர்நாடகா கூர்க் டிஸ்ட்ரிக்ட்ல கொடகு. இட் ஃப்ளோஸ் 800 கிலோமீட்டர்ஸ் த்ரூ கர்நாடகா அண்ட் தமிழ்நாடு. அப்படியே வந்து பே ஆஃப் பெங்கால்ல வந்துடும். காவேரி டெல்டா ரைஸ் பவுல் ஆஃப் தமிழ்நாடுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஏன்னா இட் ப்ரொடியூசஸ் 70% ஆஃப் ஸ்டேட்ஸ் ரைஸ். ஓகேவா? அப்போ தி கோர் கான்ஃபிளிக்ட் எங்க அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, கர்நாடகா வாண்ட்ஸ் வாட்டர் ஃபார் பெங்களூரு ட்ரிங்கிங் வாட்டர் அண்ட் இரிகேஷன் இன் மைசூர் அண்ட் மத்தியா. ஸோ அங்கதான் ப்ராப்ளம் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகுது. தமிழ்நாடு ஆல்சோ வாண்ட்ஸ் வாட்டர் ஃபார் காவேரி டெல்டா அக்ரிகல்ச்சர். அங்க நியர்லி 3 மில்லியன் ஃபார்மர்ஸ் வந்து இந்த காவேரி வாட்டருக்காக டிபெண்டா இருக்காங்க அக்ரிகல்ச்சர்ல. ஓகேவா? ஸோ போத் ஸ்டேட்ஸ் ஹேவ் லீகல் கிளைம்ஸ். ஆனா ஸ்டில் தே வர் நாட் ஏபிள் டு சால்வ் இட். ஓகேங்களா? ஸோ வயலன்ஸ்ன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா 1991ல நடந்திருக்கு. நியர்லி 18 பீப்புள் வந்து இறந்திருக்காங்க. 2002ல நடந்திருக்கு 16. ஈவன் 2023ல கூட கர்நாடகா என்ன பண்ணியிருக்காங்க? தே ரிஜெக்டட் ஆர்டர்ஸ் டு ரிலீஸ் நியர்லி 5,000 கியூபிக் செட். கரெக்டா? ஸோ இந்த மாதிரிலாம் இருக்கும்போது தமிழ்நாடு எப்ப பாரு இன்சிஸ்ட் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்கும், ரிவர்ஸ் ஆர் ஷேர்டு ரிசோர்சஸ். ரிவர்ஸை வந்து நம்ம ஷேர் பண்ணணும், நதி நீர் எல்லாம் இணைக்கணும், நம்ம நிறைய சொல்லிட்டு தான் இருக்கோம். ஆனா உடனே அது வந்து சாரி. From where am I supposed to speak in English? See, actually, what I'm trying to say here is all these water disputes. See, the states, nearby states, though we insist that river sharing and resources are for every people, due to certain conditions, we were not able to do so. So that creates problem for the states, especially who are sharing the borders. Okay, so that's why as a student of defense studies, you study this as a asymmetric warfare within India. No foreign enemy is attacking. Nobody is coming outside and attacking, but the state security itself. Yeah. So internally, you have so many problems. See what happens to protect the normal water protects management. Police will be diverted. Okay. So it also creates social divisions, or if already divisions are there, it will even deepen the divisions more. If you are not going to give waters for your neighbors, immediate neighbors, and the government's credibility, it will be damaged for both states. Let it be for Karnataka as well as for Tamil Nadu. Both state government appears weak, correct? In terms of when they go for voting, they have to satisfy the needs of the people. So water is capable of mobilizing mass emotions quickly. Okay. So as of now, you have any doubts? There are so many things are there, but I don't know. I have only 10 more minutes. Any doubts, please ask me. I'll give 5 minutes time for you. No? Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Just one doubt. Like, currently, water is not just a multiplier, right? It is not an individual source of war. So, in the future, can it be?
Again, you cannot directly point out water is the single source. Okay, it related issues only will happen even in future. See, we cannot say or we cannot predict that 0 day will happen for the whole world as such. Correct? Hello.
Yes.
See, actually, the research are taking place. Okay. For example, since you are asking this question, I'm just giving you. In IIT, there are some research which is going on, like water can be taken from the moist. In your surrounding, for sure, you will have in your environment, moist will be there, correct? Through that also, they are trying to take water. There are so many research activities that is happening, but we do not know the other effects of all these research unless otherwise we bring it into the limelight. Okay, so everyone knows that water is creating problem. Water will create a conflict, and water will become a major source for war or something like that. See, I hope this is not a recorded one. Okay. See what happened in Operation Sindhu. What India did.
A war.
Huh? What we did with the dams.
Ma'am, we shut down the dams,
And
ma'am.
it create a kind of floods in Pakistan. Correct? Hello. Am I audible? I am unable to hear.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes, yes. I am audible, but I am unable to hear from the other side. So, see, usually you cannot blame water as your enemy. You can blame only a state or a person as your enemy. Nowadays, you are fighting war with the invisible soldiers. You do not know where the enemies are. Okay, so in that case, water is one of the reason to create a conflict. This will be my this will be my answer. Hello. So I'll stop here because there are so many things are there to explain, but since the time is less, I'm unable to do so. See, one thing, we don't have any alternative for water, correct? So water is very, very essential, and not only in olden days, even in near future also, it will create a kind of conflict unless otherwise we have a proper management system. See, the governance and the proper management will help us to make use of this water. Okay, so we have been planning so many things and we have to plan accordingly. We know what is happening around us. We know about the climate change. For the past few years, we have been talking in terms of climate change and other related issues. Correct? So states are taking steps, but we will see how or the government how they take steps to overcome certain issues. But anyway, we cannot have a direct conflict over water, but for sure, a related one will always exist. Armies always fight with water security because if you control water, you can control the battlefield. That is what my answer will be. Hello. See, what we have to do is we have to prepare ourselves for future water conflicts. Okay. So, what we can do is we can strengthen the water diplomacy. We can share the hydrological data with friendly countries. Okay. We can try to create a kind of cooperation. We can try to improve it. We can secure our dams. We can secure our reservoirs. See, anyway, problem is going to exist. So how we are going to handle it, that is what is a major challenge for us. And we can develop some cyber protection for the utilities. So somebody should not hack. Okay. And desalination, invest in desalination and water conservation, especially the states who are having accessible with seawater. Okay. So yes, though we have technology to solve the water conflicts, technology can help us to solve a certain extent. Okay. But then as a citizens, we need to understand, correct? Because see, for example, desalination plant itself need more investments. New technology can make the desalination cheaper and more efficient, but as of now, until you find out a new solution, you have to depend on the existing one. So we have to make use of it wisely. And we have to do some smart irrigations, drip irrigation, where we can use less waters than flood irrigation. Correct? Now everyone is switching it off. And we need to do some recycling. Okay? And we can also even do some satellite monitoring. We have a wonderful ISRO and other places where we can monitor river flows, where we can monitor the reservoir levels and groundwaters by using the satellites. By getting those data, we can plan accordingly. We, in the sense, the government or the researchers who are doing the projects, by informing the government, we can do some, we can take some policies, we can formulate it, we can work on it. Okay. But my answer will be the technology alone cannot solve the political mistrust and other things. We need some effective governance and also cooperation, which is equally important. Technology will be a tool, but not a solution. Okay, I'll just stop here. If you have any doubts, please ask me.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. I'm Revan. I have a question, ma'am.
Yes.
Why do we need a technology like being hacked by the enemies in dams, ma'am? Because dams are used to store water, and when we need the water, it's going to release the water like that, ma'am. So,
Yes.
what is the purpose of technology being like being hacked by the our enemies used in the dams, ma'am?
See, what is the purpose of the person who is hacking? Is he happy with the society?
No, ma'am.
No.
He might be
Then what he
affected by
will
the
think?
society.
Whether you are there or not, what it makes a difference for me? You have done something wrong, so I'm not satisfied. See, the thing is, they want to have the control. See, as I already told you, water is considered to be a powerful tool. Okay, everyone knows without water nothing can move. Okay, so if I want to do something, or if a group they want to threaten the government, or if they want to do, or if they want to satisfy something of their need, what they will do, they will take this vulnerable points and they will take it as a hostage. They will take the dam as a hostage instead of taking people. If I take water as a hostage, what will happen? You have to accept, no, whatever that I am demanding.
Yeah, ma'am. I understood, ma'am. But what
Uh,
would be the purpose to keeping water as an hostage, ma'am? Because um, the purpose of the dam is to open the shutters when we need the water, and keeping the
uh,
water as an hostage, how will it can get the
The
demand of
hostage in the
the
sense, if,
hackers?
see, for example, if I need water, if you are not allowing me to open the doors, what will happen? It will get delayed. Either my agriculture will affect, or if I'm already having what to say, flooded issues are happening, heavy rains. During those time, if you open it, what will happen?
Yeah,
So
ma'am,
we need to
understood,
have
ma'am.
some control over it. We have to take care of checks and balances. See, we cannot just like that give it to somebody, somebody's hand. We need to have a checks and balances so that we can take care of internal security, because everything is a security one. That's why I have said artificial floods might occur if we open the dams without informing or without doing certain things. See, we can lose so many lives, we can lose so many acres of land. See, while the waters are coming, it does not only bring the water alone, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So many things are there. Hope I answered, or if you are not convinced, you please let me know.
No, I'm okay with that. And my last question is it necessary to build like that critical infrastructure in dams, ma'am?
Yes, absolutely. See, there are two things are there, ma. If I take dams alone, I need 2 to 3 hours of session, because constructing a dam itself, we are destroying a lot of things. We are destroying environment security. We are what to say? We are replacing the not replacing. Um, See, the tribal people who are there in those areas, we are just removing them from their own places and we are asking them to move, correct? And especially if you take in terms of Narmada River and other places, so many dams were built, but no rainfall, nothing, everything is dry. See, there are so plus and minus are there, but still, what we are trying to say is the dams, the waters, they create a kind of conflict. So we have to take care of those things and we need to address those issues. We cannot leave just like that. That is what is the point here. So it can also become a hostage. So we have to give security for that also. That is what we are insisting.
Okay,
Because
ma'am.
we cannot say, I don't want water. Nobody can deny. Everyone needs it.
Yeah, ma'am, definitely.
Any other?
Good morning, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, I'm
Yes.
Tvisha G, ma'am, and I have a question for you, ma'am.
Uh,
Ma'am, we know despite tensions, India and Pakistan made an Indus Water Treaty Agreement, but why China, India cannot form an agreement similar to that, ma'am?
see, cannot form என்றது வந்துட்டு see, it is not that cannot form. It can be formed. Okay, but what is the necessity for China and what kind of relationship that China and India is having? And they also knew that water can be used as a weapon. That is the reason why they have built the dams. Okay, so usual problem, if you want to solve, you can solve it. If you want to continue, you can continue. It is all in the hands of the states. They should not make it as a politics. They should see it in a proper way so that they can address it accordingly. See, எந்த ஒரு ப்ராப்ளமே வந்து சால்வ் ஆகாது அப்படின்றதா இல்லை. If you want to share water with other states, sure you can share. If you feel like you should not share, you will not share for so many other reasons. Okay, va?
Ma'am, maybe if there is a strong international mediation, maybe there is a chance for forming it, ma'am.
See, நம்ம இன்டர்நேஷனல் ரிலேஷன்ஸ்ல படிச்சிருக்கோம், நோ பெர்மனன்ட் எனிமீஸ், நோ பெர்மனன்ட் ஃப்ரெண்ட், ஒன்லி பெர்மனன்ட் இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட். ஸோ இஃப் அந்த மாதிரியான சுச்சுவேஷன் வந்தது அப்படின்னா ஃபார் ஷுர் வி வில் கோ ஃபார் இட். வி வில் ட்ரை த்ரூ தி ஆர்ட் ஆஃப் டிப்ளமசி. சி, டிப்ளமசி ஸ்ட்ராங்கா இருந்ததுன்னா வி கேன் டூ இட். அண்ட் எஸ்பெஷலி இஃப் இட் இஸ் அ ப்ரெஸ்ஸிங் கன்சர்ன், இதை நம்ம பார்த்தே தீரணுன்ற அந்த ஒரு கன்சர்ன் வந்தது அப்படின்னா ஃபார் ஷுர் வி கேன். சி, வி வில் பி ஏபிள் டு மேனேஜ். நம்ம கிட்ட நல்ல ஒரு என்விரான்மெண்ட் தான் இருக்கு. ஓகேங்களா? We have all the resources and we have everything with us. So maybe for that reason we are not going for it. அது என்னோட personal opinion.
Thank you, ma'am.
See, future conflicts பொறுத்தளவுக்கு most powerful weapons may not always be missiles. Okay, sometimes simple water like what we are looking today, taking control over a small river, that itself will create a huge problem. Okay, so with this, Marshall, can I end the session or any questions?
Interns, if you have any doubts, please clear it now. If no one has doubts, we can end the session.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Aishwarya Lakshmi.
Yes.
And this could be a bit of a stretch, but this question has been running behind my mind, though this does not hold much relevance to the topic. It is like a known fact that AI uses up almost a 500 milliliters for a singular prompt. And AI is an up and upcoming, industry here in India, namely in the metropolitan cities. And it's also concerning that it uses up the fresh water and the groundwater of the nation. Do you is there a possibility that in times of war times, the same AI can be accessed by the opposition military? Is there a way that the fresh water can be depleted in such a way using these AI systems?
Can you come again? AI சொல்றீங்க? AI?
Yeah. Right. So since AI is using up the freshwater systems, is there a possibility that during wartime this can be used as a...
Aishwarya, AI is using freshwater system அப்படின்னா? What do you mean by that?
AI is using... No. I'm trying to say AI is using groundwater to cool down its data centers to prevent them from heating. And though that might not affect much of the environment...
சொல்றீங்களா? Okay.
So, though that might not affect... Yes, ma'am. So, though that might not affect the environment much in current day scenario, do you think that can also be used in a wartime scenario where the same AI can be used to hold up a certain amount of water from letting it be accessible to the people?
See, already நீ சொல்றது அந்த டேட்டாஸ் இதெல்லாம் வந்து ஹீட் ஆகுறத பத்தி நீங்க சொல்றீங்க, கரெக்டா ஐஸ்வர்யா?
Yes, ma'am.
So, see, actually அது வந்து environmental securityல வரும். ஏன்னா உங்களுடைய கிளைமேட் சேஞ்சுக்கு எக்ஸசிவ் யூஸ் ஆஃப் அந்த சென்டர்ஸ் எல்லாம் நீங்க எவ்ரிடே வந்துட்டு 24/7 நீங்க அதை யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்கனால எனர்ஜி வந்து நிறைய வேஸ்ட் ஆகுது. அண்ட் அட் த சேம் டைம், ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் என்ன சொல்றீங்க, ஒரு ஸ்னோஃபால் இருக்கிற ஏரியான்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். இந்த மாதிரி டேட்டா சென்டர்ஸ்லாம் இருக்கும்போது அந்த இடம் மட்டும் பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா அந்த ஸ்னோவே அந்த இடத்துல இருக்காது, பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் ஹீட் ரேடியேஷன்ஸ் அண்ட் அதர் திங்ஸ். இட் இஸ் ஆல் டுகெதர் கிரியேட்டிங் அண்ட் என்விரான்மெண்ட் செக்யூரிட்டி. அதனால தான் வந்துட்டு உங்களுக்கு ஏசிமெட்ரிக் வார்ஃபேர்னு கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. ஏசிமெட்ரிக் வார்ஃபேர் தட் டசன்ட் மீன் ஃபர்ஸ்டே சொன்ன மாதிரி மிலிட்ரி டு மிலிட்ரி இந்த மாதிரி சண்டை கிடையாது, அது ரிலேட்டடா வரக்கூடிய மற்ற விஷயங்கள் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. ஓகேங்களா? ஸோ என்விரான்மெண்ட் செக்யூரிட்டிக்கு அது ஒரு த்ரெட். எனர்ஜி செக்யூரிட்டி, என்விரான்மெண்ட் செக்யூரிட்டி அதுல வரும் நீங்க சொல்றது.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Anything else?